Oh, yes, yes, yes. We are back here at the Sinister Creature Con. My name is Martin Anaya, and this is the California Film Foundation. Of course, we're the makers of the Sacramento International Film Festival, and right now streaming worldwide at pacificcoast.tv. And of course, my gentleman to the left here, Mr. Brian A. Prince. Now,
Hey.
Brian, you might know him as the Predator. You might know him from Black Panther. You might know him from Lovecraft Country, for that matter. I want to talk about that. You might know him from Captain America: Civil War, but I'm also learning to know him as an artist in his own right, albeit perhaps just for himself. Hey, Brian, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing? Glad to be
Man,
here.
I'm hanging in there, dude. I'm hanging in there, having a good time at the Sinister Creature Con. Have you met some fun folks today?
I have, some new friends, some old ones actually. I met some people that I did conventions with, like back in 2019, that I haven't
Nice.
seen since before then.
Nice. Well, so listen, we got to get into it because people know you for these things,
Yeah.
and love you for these things. Talk to me about the Predator. Tell me about that experience.
The Predator is an interesting experience. I guess what. It's tough because there's so many layers to it. It's like its own onion.
Pick a layer that you find. Okay, let me ask the question another way. Tell me what people don't know, what they don't even know to ask about the Predator.
The thing I don't talk the most or at all about from that experience was I was diagnosed with PTSD from it.
As a result of the shoot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting somewhere.
It's the first time I've ever said this in an interview.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
But why though? May I ask?
So I don't know. Trauma is really interesting, and basically, the human mind has a lot of really cool capabilities of protecting itself.
Of course.
And it was a very physically, emotionally, and just all around, like mentally and psychically engaging and demanding role.
Yeah.
And so the thing is about it is, like, a lot of people come up and like, oh, is it fun? That must have been awesome. And it's hard because yes, it was fun, yes, it was fulfilling, and it was also extremely difficult
and taxing, I would imagine.
And the reason I don't talk about it from that perspective very often is because I don't blame anybody. Like, I don't want to come off as someone who's like, this guy, and it's like, no, it's just the result of what happened and being where I was in my life at the time. And so going about 4 or 5 months plus like the 6 months of preparation time between my audition and filming, and then like the 4 or 5 months of filming, it was just like living in a constant state of more or less like fear and trying to, because I wanted to do as good as I could. So I tended to like stoke myself in a very like, this has to be good, I have to do this right kind of way. And then so it was like emotional pressure in that way. And then once we were actually filming, because I came from a stunt background, I did all of my own stunts, and it was a very stunt focused role. And so, if I'm in the mask and I have my harness on, it's really hard to breathe. If I'm running, it's very, very hard to breathe. There are a lot of stunts we did that were very, very, very dangerous if done incorrectly. So there's just like, what I guess a lot of people have trouble imagining is when you're in those situations, you're spending most of the time trying not to die because you want to do everything right. And as we know, over the last like 5-10 years, like, stuntmen aren't invincible. And so there's a lot of cognitive focus on like being as safe as possible. And unfortunately, staying in that headspace for a long time, it becomes hard to get out of it.
Yeah, because you become that character. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just drop the bomb.
Yeah, just bam. There we go. Bam. All right. You heard it here first. Yeah. No, but you know what? Honestly, it's brave of you to come out and say that, because we do have this idea that stuntmen are invincible, that they are superhumans, and and that's encouraged, I suppose, by some of the culture.
It is. And once again, like, this is not to point fingers at any person specifically. It's a cultural, systemic kind of thing.
Sure.
We tend to, like, there's a lot of some people who don't talk about what they're actually going through, either one, because they don't have the social or emotional tools to do so,
Absolutely.
or two, because it's more or less encouraged. Like a lot of people are afraid, like, well, if I say that, if I say this is what I'm going through,
I'm not going to get hired,
I'm not going to get hired
or,
again.
or people aren't going to like me, or they're going to think I'm not Superman.
I'm going to get labeled hard to work with, which unfortunately tends to mean like advocating for my needs.
Hey man, look at Simone Biles. I mean, look at the moment we're in right now.
Yes,
Simone Biles,
exactly. Yeah.
#1 gymnast in the world,
Yeah.
and she says, "You know what? I can't go."
Yeah.
And everybody, and I'll be honest with you, for a moment, I had a hard time processing it, but I knew one thing. I knew that if Simone Biles said, "I can't go,"
Yeah.
she wasn't lying.
Simone Biles is a goddess. And so, like, yeah, I in a situation like that where Simone Biles is like, this is how I'm feeling, and people are reacting like, why? It's like, I would ask the question, wait, no, why? Like that.
Yeah, why? Like what happened and how are you? And
yeah, that was,
because I mean, sure, that was the last thing she wanted to do was to not compete, right?
Yeah, of course she wants to compete. But, after the last 2 years, and it has to be said, as a person of color, there's a lot of stress already there. And so to be like, oh, I'm going to put all this on top of that already, there's a lot she's already dealing with. It's not just like, oh, this was a bad week, which I think a lot of people like came at it that way. And it's like, come on. Like,
and these are armchair quarterbacks that have never played the sport, played the game, done the thing.
Yeah.
Naomi Osaka is another one that comes to mind when she, pulled out of the tournament. And it's like, you're the #1 tennis player in the world. What are you doing? You know what? She wasn't right. And sometimes you have to, self-care is a big thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, boys and girls at home, check it out. Self-care is a big thing. You heard it here. You heard it from the Predator, man.
It's
all
a
right.
lifestyle, not an activity.
All right. So let me ask you, just to get more on our happy tip again, but let me ask you a little bit about Black Panther, because I'm not familiar. I mean, of course, like everybody in the world saw the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, shout out, the director of that movie went to Sacramento State. So shout out, Brian.
Yeah.
But what was your experience? Well, first of all, what was your character and what did you do there?
So I was in Black Panther 1. I was part of the Jabari tribe stunt team for the final battle of Wakanda. And it was a thrill. So I got to be one of the Jabari warriors. We fought with vibranium bow staffs versus the border tribesmen.
Yeah.
And we essentially spent a bunch of time rehearsing what we called fight loops. And so we would
fight loops.
Yeah. So we would come up with about 5 different choreography, or they came up with
moves,
5 different choreography,
basically.
And they taught it to us. And then we would match those with different border tribes people. And the reason we did that is because we were filming in a giant field, and it wasn't like I'm always matched with this person or I'm always matched with this person. Like I might be with Jefferson one day, I might be with Brandon the next day. So we had to make sure that no matter who we're matched up with, we could sync up. And it was a blast. Yeah.
Man, but I gotta say though, good on whoever it was, the stunt coordinators, the filmmakers, because I've seen some of these huge fight scenes in movies.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of times you see one or two things happen. Number one, if you look off, like, okay, you're not looking at Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
And you're looking at the other guys, and you're like, oh, they're not going 100%.
Yeah.
And you can see them like totally swinging wide and missing each other. You can just totally see it. Or you're thinking, the other thought is, oh my God, there's like, I mean, never mind special effects, but there's like 100 or 200 people in this shot.
Yeah.
200 more opportunities for something to go wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was the cool thing about what we did is that was Kugler's exact like goal was, if you looked in the background, you never saw people just kind of floating around. He wanted us to be full contact fighting, even if we weren't the focus of the shot. Yeah.
And so to have every single one of those interactions choreographed, reduces the chances that something goes wrong.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Wow.
It was a really cool machine, and it was one of those situations that, like, while you're in it, you almost forget you're filming a movie, and you're just completely immersed in the action.
Now, tell me about Civil War.
So Civil War was also stunts. I was part of the stunt team for the Lagos, Nigeria scene in the opening. We shot that in the middle of Atlanta, and that was fun. I worked about a week on that production, and it was me, a lot of similar people from Black Panther, and essentially during this scene where Captain America, Black Widow, and Falcon are trying to chase down Crossbones and his goons, the stunt team, what we did is we provided a buffer between the action and the background actors, because background actors are not allowed to engage in physically demanding activities,
Right.
whereas stunt performers are. And
Yeah.
so essentially someone gets pushed or throws a punch or something goes flying, the stunt team is going to be the one that's taking that.
Yeah.
We were like running out of the way of cars, jumping out of the way of people getting chased, getting hit, and yeah.
How did you get into stunt work?
For me, it was really lucky. I grew up in Atlanta, or outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been doing parkour now for about 13 years.
Oh, wow.
I'm the world's tallest parkour athlete.
Wow.
And yeah, fun random fact.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
this man is very tall, folks.
Yeah.
You don't see too many parkour athletes that tall.
No, I'm
Is there a reason for that other than the fact you don't have so many human beings?
It's
He's like 6'10", y'all.
I mean, people don't think it's possible. A lot of people that are interested in parkour would tend to be like, I'm too short, I'm too tall. But I just didn't want to believe that when I got interested. I fell in love with parkour.
But there's not a physical reason.
No.
There's not any disability or benefit to being taller necessarily.
I mean, there are some like jump advantages. I can do farther jumps, but I mean, that's me comparing myself to me. So yeah, and I know I can do flips and stuff like most other people. It tends to break people's minds when I do like a front flip or something, because they're like, I didn't think you could do that, and I'm like, yeah, me neither, until I tried it, and then I just had to do it safely, and yeah.
Well, and we were talking about gymnasts. You see gymnasts, even the male gymnasts, a lot of them are very short.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you got into parkour, and did you do it competitively?
Not really, because at the time there weren't a lot of competitive parkour activities.
That is still something that's emerging even now, right?
There are. Yeah. So now there are some grassroots tournaments, and there's this big organization called World Chase Tag. I actually competed in World Chase Tag last week in Ohio.
How was that?
Ohio, it was fantastic.
Oh, nice. What'd you do?
We didn't get far. My team, I'm on team APK Gray. We didn't get far in the tournament, but we had fun. I got to score a point for my team, which is really exciting.
How do you score a point in parkour? What did you do?
So World Chase Tag is cool because it's made up of completely parkour athletes, but it's not about parkour as much as it's about tag. So it's this arena called the Quad. It's not huge, but it's pretty big, and it's made out of all of these obstacles. There's like metal bars, wooden platforms, and essentially you have a chaser and an evader. The chaser is trying to catch the evader, and they have 20 seconds to do so. If the evader evades, they score a point for their team. If the chaser tags the evader within the 20 seconds, they become the new evader.
That is
they have
fascinating, man.
After that,
I would watch that, dude.
It is amazing. Like if you can look it up right now, go to YouTube, type in World Chase Tag USA. You can watch last week's.
You're adults playing tag.
Yeah, and there's this like inner part of you that's like, oh, I'm playing tag in an arena. I've always wanted this, and it's stellar. And it's, to be honest, it's some of the best parkour you will ever see in your life, because unlike a lot of parkour that you'll see on Instagram, where they've planned and rehearsed and practiced, World Chase Tag is 100% improvisational, because it's somebody literally chasing you. Wow. So you're not doing things to be pretty. You're like, I got to get out of here. And so it's some of the best parkour you'll ever see.
Yeah. That's amazing, man. And then so that kind of led into doing Hollywood type stunt work.
Yeah, so I was doing parkour for a long time, and just through inadvertent networking, some of my parkour friends became stunt people. I met some stunt people. I stand out because I'm so tall. So I just kept meeting stunt people, and then we became friends. And it wasn't even like I was trying to like hustle. I'm just friendly, and I'm like, oh, cool, nice to meet you.
You're in the scene, and boom.
And then one day someone was like, I need a tall guy for a thing. And
I guess it also helps that if you have some talent.
Yeah, talent
that might help.
You want to. It's good to stand out in whatever you do. It doesn't hurt. So definitely.
Yeah, I mean, being tall is going to get you so far, but then when you can do it.
Yeah.
So if you were going to give some advice, maybe to somebody who's watching that maybe wants to become a stunt person, or maybe get into parkour, I mean, what would you tell them?
My advice to anybody trying to get into anything, honestly, is I think we tend to have this idea of like, I'm going to come up with what I want to do because it seems cool, or it makes a lot of money, or other people will think I'm cool for doing it. And honestly, I would say don't do that. Which it sounds tempting, but I I never thought I'd be the Predator. I never thought I'd be doing parkour after 13 years. But the reason I kept doing it was because I genuinely loved it. And when I did it, I felt this sense of like fulfillment that nothing else could really rival. And what I tell people is there's something about when you're doing your thing that one, it just fills you with joy and purpose, and two, people notice that. And so we all know people, especially in sports or acting, who are like, I'm doing such a great job. Why is nobody noticing me? And it's because everybody can kind of feel that you're just doing it so other people can notice you. But then when we all see that person who's like dancing and they don't think anyone's watching them,
singing in the rain,
and everyone's
man,
like, who is that? I need to know who that is. Like,
Sure.
find the thing that you do where you become that person and just keep doing it and share it. And you will be surprised at where that will go. Because I think there's just something about being human that when we are just lost in the zone of doing our own thing, we just attract attention, and then knowing how to turn that attention into opportunity. It sounds like really like crystally or like, you know, like,
yeah, like new agey or
horoscopy,
something.
but
Yeah, right.
It's not magic. It's just that like people resonate with people who are resonating with themselves.
It's energy, man. It's
Yeah.
energy. Absolutely. And I think that's the best advice, man, is do what pleases you and not because it's going to please others necessarily. I
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that everybody out here at this con today, I think they would fall into that. These people,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, even the ones, you know, in the celebrity alley and all that. I mean, I'm sure almost every single person there. I just got through interviewing V. Neal, you know, multi-Academy Award-winning makeup
V's
artist.
amazing.
And I asked her, you know, how do you get into this? And she's like, hey, you know what? This is all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
She's just in it to win it. You know, I mean, it has nothing to do with winning accolades or other people's affirmation, right?
Yeah, that stuff comes when you're just loving what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I can clearly see that you love what you do. And also, by the way, again, the fact that you're willing to step up and be brave enough to say, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to take care of yourself too. Because let's face it, what you do, man, comes with huge risk and injuries. And I'm not even going to ask you about all the injuries that you may have suffered.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know that that's par for the course. I've known enough stuntman over the course of my existence in media, and hats off to you, brother, because the bottom line is you do have to think about not only just safety first, but about that self-care. And that's part of being able to continue to do what you want to do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the biggest part of it. I don't know, it's tempting to downplay and cover up, but if there's anything I learned from Predator, and once again, love the experience, wouldn't take it back if I could, and I would do it again in a minute if I could. But the biggest thing I took away from that experience was just learning how to say, like, no, this is not working for me right now, or I need a break, or you know, can I have a drink? Like learning how to advocate for what I needed in that moment for the greater good of the entire production.
Right.
Because it's not just you being selfish or saying, I want this because I need this. It's like, I need to do this so we can all have a better time. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because if you're not at 100%, how can you give, you know?
100%. It's like what they say on every airplane you ever fly. Like, you got to put on your mask before you can put on someone else's. Yeah.
Well, listen, Brian A. Prince, you're aptly named. You're a prince among men, and I want to say thank you. By the way, my favorite musical artist in the world, Prince, but
yes.
That's another story. But you are definitely a prince, sir, and I thank you so much. And thank you guys for watching. But hey, check it out, yo. You could still get down here. There's still time. And we're going to be here till 7 o'clock, man. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So come on down here. They might even cut you a deal. The tickets are already just unreasonably low priced, $30.
Come on out. Yeah.
But thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. And again, thank you for watching California Film Foundation, Sacramento International Film Festival. Ask for it by name, accept no substitutes. We'll see you later.
Thanks so much.